Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and Craig Skidmore here for Deep Love Tarot, your weekly love horoscope and reading for the week of October the 5th through the 11th of 2020 here on highvibe.tv. If you've not checked out highvibe.tv yet, you're missing out on the Disruptive Spiritual Network, bringing the high vibes. Check it out, highvibe.tv, and all of our apps, which all the links are down below. And of course, all my daily exclusive video content for horoscopes, tarot, and all my weeklies, and all the special shows that we do here, like Deep Love Tarot, like Deep Astrology, in their full form. And we go live on our apps, and we're on Apple TV, Roku, and of course, Android, and on our website. You're missing out on quite a lot. Make sure that you subscribe to get part of that. And my school is the last week. If you want to learn astrology like you've literally never done before, and with so much content, it'll blow your mind. Check it out, highvibetvschool.com. Get all my tiered 1, 2, and 3 schools of astrology, plus you get my Love Masterclass and my Spiritual eCommerce Business School, all in one package, super cheap. This is the last week of that sale.
Ride the wave, shaka, brah.
Ride the waves, bro.
Shaka.
Ride the waves.
Shaka.
What's going on with you?
I'm just fixing my mic stand. All of a sudden, it's just falling
Craig's
down.
fixing things. Are you ready for this Mercury retrograde next week?
I am as ready as I'll ever be. I watched Pretty Woman this weekend.
Pretty Woman.
You know, it's real. That movie is it's one of the greatest ones. It has so many good one-liners too. It just cracks me the fuck up. But it just reminds me, because at the end when Vivian's talking to Kit. Yeah, Kit. She's like, who? Name me one person that this fairy tale ever goes through. Name me one person. She said that thinking. She's like, Cinda-fucking-rella.
That's true.
That's what I feel like we're going through in life right now. It's like, who the fuck knows? Making it happen.
The Cinderella story exists.
It does.
The funny thing about Cinderella's story, though, is that it's like she doesn't want it, but she does. It's like she's wanting that life, but then even like she like lets her aunt and her cousins kind of like take over even when the shoe fitting is happening. It's like she's just kind of hiding herself. Like, it's like, so is that what people are doing? Their Cinderella stories are right there, and then it's like, I don't know if I really want to put on the shoe, but I really do want to put on the shoe, and then kind of staying in kind of a inhibited place.
Inhibited.
Those are the things I notice about those kind of stories. Or maybe it's a Beauty and the Beast story. That worked, and the Beast was, I don't even know if you would call him a human being.
He's a changed man.
I don't even want to say it, but was that kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it was kind of weird. I know a lot of women fantasize about the Beast, but I don't know. If you kind of go deep in that story, that's a little funky.
The Beast.
But I guess it wasn't like she had many options in the town, unless you were into Gaston.
Well, that's the whole story of finding love in a hopeless place. Looks can be deceiving. Maybe that Beast was a true, soft-hearted gentleman when it came down to it. He just needed a little TLC. Just like everybody, we just need a little TLC, and it changes the ways. Puts a different perspective on life. You get a little bit more happy. You get a little less sad, and the world starts changing right before your eyes. Oh man!
Somebody just said that the Beast was a kidnapper. He was.
True.
But I was thinking of something else. I don't even want to. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube, but it's. Let's just take the word beast and add the other form of it. Very weird. So, if you never watched this show before, we are going to go into the collective. What's going on for love? I'm going to give you the astrology for that, and then go into the cards, and then from. Oh, we don't. I don't.
Oh, there's no gold.
Oh, hold on. You're going to have to switch to you. I'm going to have to get the High Vibe Gold Cup, because High Vibe Gold Cup didn't even want to be here.
It's the most important spot of it, because that's how we keep it going, because it's not planned out. Just like this, him having to get up when you're going to listen to me now for a second. Nothing's planned. It's all in the I Love Gold Cup. Brought to you by highvibe.tv.
Brought to you by used water cup from the High Vibe TV studios within it. So people might not know, but we store the Astro Dice in the High Vibe Gold Cup.
Yeah, look at that.
Although, no, it's like literally like the lotto. Like, oh, they're in here. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. Those are all handwritten by yours truly.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that. I got an extra shake today.
Here we go. Shake.
So then, of course, we pick all 12 different signs out of here. And we just pull the tarot for that, and I do a little astrology. But if you want your full astrological weekly horoscope, be a member of highvibe.tv. But this is focused on love and mainly the tarot. But I do give the astrology here for the collective, which I say we start right now.
Ann texts me, whoops, I forgot to put the cup out.
I was about to say, you know what's so funny? She psychically tapped in. I was about to say, oh, well, Libra forgot to put out the cup. Happy birthday, Libras, by the way. It's all good. It's the way the universe wanted it.
It's all good.
That's the way the universe wanted it. So,
I should probably get that collective up there, huh?
yeah, maybe we should. You know, I mean, people could definitely hear and see, but you know,
Yeah, I might help.
in today's world, as much help as you can get, kind of, is the way. Eventually.
One of these days.
With Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto now in
One of
Capricorn,
these
all
days.
direct, it's Patient City. Collective reading, where we go. Well, we all have felt a major internal shift out of nowhere on Sunday coming into this. So on October 4th, we're talking on the 5th to you of October of 2020, Pluto direct now with Saturn and Jupiter all lumped together in the tightest. Well, I would say that this is probably one of the tightest conjunctions I've seen of these planets in my life of doing astrology and doing my past astrological research on these transits. We did see similar events in the beginning of the 80s with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Libra, but nothing like this, and with Mars retrograde square. So this week is about the Mars retrograde square Pluto all week. So one, we're in a love reading. We're in Libra. So relationships are a big deal right now. But with Mars in opposition in retrograde in Aries, squaring Pluto, this is bringing up our boundaries, our wants, our needs, our desires. With Mercury in Scorpio, that's going to oppose Uranus and Taurus. This is shifting the ball game in weird places in our relationships. Mercury rules the environment that we live in, our communication. This is going to bring up way big weird fireworks or explosions of weird situations, especially with Mars square Pluto. An explosion of either, wow, this is amazing, to detrimental like craziness. Venus is in Virgo. So it's not the best place for Venus, and it's a little mundane or flat there, but you have to find a rhythm. So do relationships have rhythm right now, or do they fit into your reality? That's a big question. It's going to trine Uranus, though. I'm excited for this Venus trine Uranus. Woo! I was born with Venus trine Uranus, but a lot more fun signs, Leo and Sag. You know, it was a lot more fun having Venus and Leo when I was born in Uranus and Sag and trine. But I'll be honest, talking to y'all as a Venus trine Uranus person, unless you're cool, you know what I mean? Like with it, and also always like thinking about the future and likes to take wild, crazy risks in love, boring. So boring relationships, we used to do on this show, boring relationship graphic. If it's boring, it ain't gonna make it through. You know, I just gotta be, and with Mercury opposed Uranus, we are all being shocked. Oh, there it is. If you're in that, well, good luck to you this week, collective. Good luck, because that's not what the universe wants for us in our destinies now that Saturn and Pluto have come direct. And remember, they came in their conjunction on January 12th of 2020. So this means that Pluto's not going to catch back up with Saturn because Saturn's right in front of Pluto. But they're the tightest they can be since then. And now Saturn's leaving Pluto. So it's like the waning process of a long process. They're not going to meet again for over 30 years. I think it's like, at this point, 36 years. So it's going to be, it's going to be like, is your destiny meant for this boring, mundane reality, or is it for the exciting, hunger, and advancement into a better quality, physical natured, exciting quest of life. Jupiter is going to square the sun. Well, the sun technically will square Jupiter this week on the weekend with a moon in Leo. So I would say that this is going to be pretty intense when it comes to the moon in Leo, when it squares Mercury and makes the T-square over to Uranus while the sun's squaring Jupiter, because when it comes to our emotional situations in love, there's a lot of questions of, are you all the way in? And is this really advancing? Is this really stimulating? And Venus will be trining Uranus at that time. I mean, this is like, with Mars square Pluto, is it a big bang or is it a big dud? Is it a big, intense, powerful, life-changing relationship, or has the life change already happened and it's out of gas?
Out of gas.
And do they even offer gasoline for it anymore?
Nope, it's illegal.
That's the big question for this week. And so it's bipolar. Libra's trying to balance it, but with oppositions to Mars and now starting to square the big three, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, and Capricorn, and we're on the heel, we're getting ready for Mercury to retrograde on the 13th next week, and Mercury's going to station and stop and oppose Uranus here for this week, next week. I mean, this is stories changing fast, and communication and environments changing. So this is where you're going to see a lot of people, especially, I mean, look at New York City. They just already started the whole non-essential business closed, and they're stopping a couple other things, right? It just happened in like the Bronx, I think it's Brooklyn and some parts of the Bronx, and people are going to be jumping around and changing their relationship lives for the ones that they want to be around for us to go through, because the thing that a lot of astrologers not be saying is now that these three are all direct, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, and Capricorn, there is a massive power out there that is so majorly big. And with Venus and Jupiter, the two benefic energies in their fall positions, a power grab right now out there to take control of people. And so when it comes to love, if somebody's trying to take control of you, you already are dealing with a hidden force that's trying to take over people. So love is how to get through that and not follow that control. But if you're in relationships that are detrimental and they're boring already, like, what are you doing? And the ones that are really, that feel, I would say, somewhat real, is it would be in a reality that honestly gives you a much better go at life. And it's with Taurus and it's with Mercury. And I would say that, you know, having those in Scorpio and Taurus, it's hunger and it's needs, and it's, those things need to be met. And if they're not met, you can't do the whole, well, I guess I'll just still be more patient. You've had so much patient energy that you've had to deal with. It's time to get to new timelines and not be in the heavy energy anymore. You don't have to do these responsibilities of staying in a heavy situation. That's what Venus trine Uranus is too. Like, break free into the freedom of, not freedom like, oh, I need to be independent and on my own. The freedom of the excitement of stimulation that comes through an understanding of a higher way that relationships can go. And so the universe is calling upon those to make it, to get onto the fate train of all time. We'll never see this big of a fate train ever again. For years, I was preparing people for the fate train and that the concrete was going to pour and all that. There's actually wiggle room here with Mercury opposed Uranus. Even though the concrete's been laid, it hasn't fully dried yet in many ways, although it's pretty dry.
So
Mercury opposed Uranus would be like a minor,
So you can still write your name in it a little bit.
Yeah, or like there's at least, you don't need full jackhammer yet, but that jackhammer's almost necessary soon, and that's not something that will be fun.
No.
So, especially I think when Venus trines the big three coming up here, and then Mercury's in a retrograde next week. So it's like, do you really want to, what story do you want to go into? This is covering, and I'm going to go real deep here, and this is my secret I'm giving away. Mercury's going to retrograde at 11 degrees of Scorpio on the 13th. That's next week. October of 2018, Venus went retrograde at 10 degrees of Scorpio, and it retrograded back to 25 degrees of Libra. This Mercury retrograde, 11, going back to the same exact path that Venus went in retrograde of October, November of 2018. There are so many weird similarities you'll see with money and relationships coming up.
Great.
They're already happening. They're already happening.
Awesome. Yay, us. We're so lucky.
Are you wanting to go replay that moment in 2018? Maybe it is. Maybe it is to fix those energies and understand it better and what happened. There's a lot of weird karma attached to that time. But also there was major lessons, and it's time to understand what those lessons are. So, and you have that mixed with the opposition to Uranus, which Venus did oppose Uranus, though at 0 degree. Mercury does come back to that 0 degree in retrograde here in like 3 weeks' time, or about, yeah. So I would just say this is the week to make the adjustments before you feel like I don't have, we're going to be in a Mercury retrograde, a Mars retrograde, and with Mars square Pluto and retrograde Mars, like this is you having to get, and it's just as Pluto went direct, just the same way that Mars retrograde squared Saturn as it came direct, that's happening with Pluto. So this is like things turning on a dime. This is a week where your whole life is just going to go from like this to just that and love relationship life. And if you're in a relationship, it's just going to turn a different corner. I'm not saying that it will break up or anything, but I'm saying that there is a magical tester. Maybe you want to call it Merlin. Maybe you want to call it Spirit that is saying, is this really good for my destiny? And even with people you might be dating or whatever, the conversations have to be had. Everything has to get to the bottom of it. You have to get to the bottom of the truth, and you can't avoid it, or you are going to feel like you are missing out on life completely, or not able to have the life that you even want, or just feeling like literally life is a bottomless pit of emptiness. And I would hate people to go through that because you're not willing to deal with the truth of, is this what I want in my long-term goals and change? And we all know we all need to make changes in our life. We all know that. We are all not perfect. But if we're not willing to admit that in ourselves, and if we can't in partnerships or dating or any of that shit, how is anything going to ever happen in the golden age of love? So, let's see how the cards fare for this week. I do want to just say last thing is that the Sun square Jupiter is not faring well for those that are not willing to open the doors to understand the choices they need to make in order to bring the balance and harmony in their lives. And it's either the ultra naive person that goes way too far in unconscious places, Sun square Jupiter people, and Sun square Jupiter on the positive though, is when you face the reality that life has doors that open that are not ones that maybe necessarily exactly the way that your soul identifies as, but that there is a higher conscious place and a belief system that deep inside of you knows your destiny is that door that you have to get over in your own soul's ego, not just your ego, but this is a lot of ego shit having to be cleared. And a lot of people in relationships are living in their ego, not their souls. And so this is going to be where, can you bring the soul out? Or are you just trying to identify still off your pictures off Instagram and proving to everybody that you found love or something like that? Or are you still trying to prove to other people something? Or are you still trying to prove? If you're still trying to prove something, or you're still having to also force something to stay, it's not going to have the weight to hold it because it's not in essence true. Card that we're seeing to start off is the Chariot reversed. Fears of going in the direction that's divinely guided by the universe and spirit. Look at this card too, man. Well, that would be a great place to go. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and having a psychedelic time. But there's something very weird about that trip anyway. But it turns out okay. It could look scary though. But you know, it's funny, reverse. It's like, I'm too afraid to go. Or I feel like I'm not done. Because actually the original Chariot card is like, I've seen everything I need to see. It's time to move on. There is a plague on people love-wise. Like, I feel like I need to see more here. Do you? We're going to find out. The challenge is the Eight of Pentacles in reversed. Why? Because it hasn't worked or it's not working? Can it work? Eight of Pentacles is like, I call it the factory. Like, it's like being on the factory lines and seeing if the product is moving out. It's a masterful card of building masterpieces by proving that it works time and time again. But there's something about something that is missing. It's like a misfire in a car. It's like, I guess because more ladies watch this show than men, it would be like, you just can't get your makeup right, girl. You know what I mean? Like every time you try that eyeliner, I don't even know what eyeliner would be like, but trust me, I don't wear makeup. I don't, or you know, like that. I'm trying to relate with women in a women way, and I'm like, makeup, I guess, it always is wrong, and you know, it's like you put on too much blush all the time, and now you look more like a clown, and you think that everybody's looking at you funky, and you don't know why. It's like maybe you need to stop doing that. You haven't mastered the makeup yet. Maybe it's too much blush. Our overall is the Seven of Cups upright, which is a great card. It's like, hey, let's go look out for the bigger dreams in our life and the bigger prizes of life that we want to have. The negative in this card, of course, is always that it might feel like it's hard to decide on what that is. But it's telling us to open our horizons up. What is our shadow of this not functioning correctly? Alone in the world. So it's almost like, is the shadow that you're too afraid to be alone in the world so you'll stay in something that's dysfunctional or just not operating at full capacity? It would literally be like, gosh, I don't know why it keeps coming up about cars, but it's like literally it would be like a car that doesn't work all the way, but it works so I can drive it. The windows don't roll down. The radio doesn't work, but it drives. I'm too afraid to not have a car. Maybe it's better to get rid of that car so you can at least let the universe offer the opportunities for you to get the ultimate car to work. The way that this Chariot reversed is working out is we got the Devil card reversed. Oh. So there's something about it to where it's like, maybe something isn't the devil that we maybe thought it was. So that's why we don't want to stop looking at it. And that might be what it is. Maybe. But it also could be that there is some sort of energy that is saying, hey, in order to pull out of a situation that is holding us down from a more darker space, an addictive space, or an obsessive space, or feeling like you can't let it go, maybe it's just because you're too afraid of letting go and going on a journey that is more divine. It's not so much the person, it's the whole idea of the new journey itself, and doing it alone in the world. But that's the only way we're going to get to the good stuff, it looks like here. And when the Seven of Cups, we got the Ritual card reversed. So I would say that maybe we haven't formed the ritual of actually being able to look at all of our options, and we've kind of formed this ritual of maybe, or maybe the options we're looking at too of how we expect the reality to look or the relationship to look has to be redone. So I would say that this is a lot of reevaluation going on here. A lot of reversals. Every card's reversed except the Seven of Cups, which is to look at our dreams more and our fantasies more. But I would say that we almost have this unhealthy ritual of maybe we have to recite what those dream fantasies are and look in different places. And I think that this is way obsessed stories attached to the fear of truly finding the empowerment of something that works. And when something that works and that's beautiful and that's great, that really can show up, the fear of what that actually would be. So, or moving towards something that actually does. The overall that we got is the 12th house of escape. Wow, this is also more though. The 12th house is, if it's not spiritually aligned, it is not spiritually aligned, and it's chaotic if it is. And so a lot of situations I feel this week are going to come up on which stuff is just escapism and what stuff is really spiritually divine. That is a hard, 12th house is hard. I'm a son of the 12th house. Trust me. It took me years of going through being a drug addict to you name it. And I went to a prison for 30 days and all this stuff to finally get on my spiritual path to where I wasn't living in that kind of fucking chaotic world. And so you have to wake up to, are you living in a chaotic relationship situation or about to enter one or are in one or dating somebody that creates more chaos? Or is the embodiment of the true spiritual nature and path and dreams that we're supposed to be? And really, escapism, I would say, would be the toxic energy of the 12th house. It's not escapism when you're connected to the divine. That's not escape. That's connected to home. Who's connected to home and who is not? The moon in Pisces in the 11th house. Well, this is definitely us emotionally trying to understand a very wide scope of spiritually understanding people and having to find compassion though for people, while at the same time not being so sensitive to situations where if it doesn't connect, it doesn't connect. If it does connect, what's your spiritual blocks that are coming through that? A lot to process on this collective reading.
And maybe a bit of needing to step out of your comfort zone too, and like really allow yourself to grow with the love that you have around you instead of maybe focusing on the love that you don't have around you, and not necessarily trying to force a situation, but kind of letting the energy flow and kind of letting life unravel as it should be, and just kind of got to loosen those reins a bit. And you think you might be holding yourself back. I mean, we all kind of hold ourselves back at time too by putting these thoughts in our mind of what could happen, instead of just allowing it to happen naturally.
Yeah, I feel that it's just in general not being afraid of whatever is what it is. Yeah. If it is the bomb, it is the bomb, and okay, and accepting that. Or if it's not the bomb, it's not the bomb, and accepting for what it is, and letting go of the reins of I have to do this, I have to do something. When I think a lot of it too, with that Chariot reverse is the first card, I would say that that's just extreme fears of the new journey that Spirit's calling you towards, or the ultimate journey that's right in front of you that Spirit's telling you to do. And there's a lot of inhibition, and there's a lot of fear, and there's also nothing holding you back. There's no devil holding you back. It's you creating your own demonic energy within yourself for holding yourself from greatness. Damn.
Damn.
Damn!
Damn, Daniel.
We got Libras first. Happy birthday. Libras are the first ones.
Ooh, come on down.
Libra, come on down. How's the chat doing?
Libras.
All right, Libras. Let's see what's going on with you this week. You did pull the 9 of Swords in reverse. So this is about allowing yourself to understand, especially at your birthday, Sun square Jupiter, that maybe the emotional pain that you have nightmares of going through is not a nightmare, but a success story. That I think that you're realizing that what you've been so afraid to deal with, what you feel like would be the worst nightmare scenario to deal with in a relationship, is not as big a deal as you think it is. It's more of a big deal if you don't do something about it. That would be the nightmare. But this is you getting over your fears extremely, especially emotionally, with the Sun squaring Jupiter this week and with Mars in your relationship house square Pluto. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of big energy in your relationship sector, especially in the emotional and relationship sector, while in having to fight for your own harmony in your life. You did get the Hermit reversed as your challenge. So it's like you're not using the wisdom that I think you've already 100% gathered. And maybe your problem also too is, I feel like, because this is a challenge, is like, oh, I just want to keep seeing if there's more data. And there's enough data here. How much longer do you just want to keep observing the situation and then not applying anything that you've already gotten? It's one thing to take data and then apply it in life. There's another where you can still take data and still keep moving on in your life instead of like making every moment like until it's reached this amount of understanding and this amount of me figuring it out, then I'll do something. It's like, that's a typical Libra story. Queen of Wands reversed is your overall. So yeah, you need to take back the crown and take back the throne of your love life instead of feeling like you're stupid energetically from a feminine point of view of like giving all your love away and not getting anything back and holding love for somebody else or holding love for something that you don't want to hold love for. The shadow to this hermit reversed is the I won't cry for you. Are you holding love for somebody that wouldn't actually really even put that much emotion back into you the same way that you would? And what if even the deeper shadow deep in this is the reason why that you keep waiting for data is because you keep wanting to have enough data to be being like, well, I want to be more emotional about it, but I'm really not. That Nine of Swords reversed comes up with the Strength card reversed. So you're having some issues here, Libra, this week with having the strength to face a nightmare that's not a nightmare. So this would be very mind... But also with Mercury and Scorpio in opposition to Uranus, I mean, this is definitely dealing with 8th and 2nd houses. Like, you need to know your self-worth and know that you have the strength for the transformation, for a better, deeper energy connection, communication-wise, that it's not as scary to maybe unveil. Maybe the emotions are off because they don't understand the emotions. You're not communicating them. And you can't be afraid of that. You have to have the strength to do it. And when it comes to this Queen of Wands reverse, you pulled the Sun card reversed. So that's not too hot looking. This is definitely like not feeling within your power or your conscious self because you're not in control of setting the tone, because any regality energy, this is you not stepping into your regal self for love this week. And you have to do that because then you'd be in an unconscious place, or you're just in an upside down position where you're not in your truth and you're not in your strength, and you're in this whole I won't cry for you, they won't cry for me, and I need more data. No, you don't need more data. It's here. It's shocking you this week with that Mercury opposed Uranus too. And you got the North Node of life's purpose. Interesting, it's in Gemini, which is your 9th house, but I would say that with this, is it your life's purpose to have somebody or for you to not cry for you, and that you always need to keep observing more data and more information, or that you feel like, you're not ready to apply what you already have? No, it's your life purpose to go for the life that you really want. That is the door opening life, the life of abundance. That's truly the story that you want it to be, instead of hanging on to stories that kind of seem like it's almost like you're tricking yourself into liking the story that you don't like. 12th house, Uranus, Sag. And then, of course, apply the opposite, right, in life to make it good. Wow. 12th house, Uranus. This is definitely shocking out of nowhere situations that are all benefiting you, but they are going to push things that are not of a higher, more positive realm out of your life. So if you're attached to something so deeply, yet it's not good for you, the universe is going to come through and do it for you in many ways, but it will be shocking and it will take you to a better level in your life. But if you can't see the vision of that, or don't understand why Spirit's doing that, then it'll rattle you very hard. But there's some, and honestly, don't mess around with drugs too much this week, or alcohol, or anything too funky, because that'll take the situation even in the worst position. You're dealing with some very internal emotional stuff right now that's very heavy, and especially spiritually, you do not want to mess up and get shocked in the wrong direction. Especially if you're with somebody who's pulling you away from that spirituality.
Yeah, I saw Fran in the chat. She said, I'm taking my crown back. And I think that's that first step, is acknowledging that you hold the power. You have the choices to love or to not, to cry or to not cry, Yeah. But it's you holding the power, and it's that acknowledgement so that you can actually apply those lessons, so you can continue to work through any hardships, or, if you've made it through that, so you continue to know that you have the power, you are that life force, you are the energetic drive that is going to propel you forward. So know that, take that crown back if you're missing it, but you got to know that you are missing it.
Yeah, you got to know. I like that, especially there is that Queen of Wands there in reverse with the Sun card reverse. I mean, it is having to take your whole power back more than just the crown. Like the crown has power, but when there's nobody up at night and the castle's empty, you still have to take your power back in those moments when other people aren't acknowledging power, because those close to you take advantage of power in a situation like that, right? Because they're so close to you. So it's taking your true soul back in the story and the realness of what it is. Happy birthday. The Aries are next year, opposite. Woo! Aries, Libra. That's the story we're in right now. Especially, are you all ready? Like for Mars retrograde opposed the sun next week with Mercury retrograde and a new moon in Libra on the 16th. Oppose Mars, square Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn. So I'm saying this week's fucking imperative. Aries, let's see what's going on. You pulled the strength card reversed. Why is that, Aries? You are the strong one. It might be this Mars retrograde. I think that you know what? You're starting to convince yourself that love stories or a relationship situation that, maybe I don't need to do this, or maybe I need to pull out of something. It's like, that's not an Aries. Don't start letting Pluto tell you, oh, you need to restrict what you want. I think that that's bullshit. I think that Aries have to find their strength for what they want, and they need to step into the power of that more. I feel that Aries are like putting down their swords. Like, I don't want to try. I don't want to try anymore. Or, convincing yourself of some weird issue, especially with Mercury and Uranus in opposition in your 8th and your 2nd house. Like, it's almost like you're like creating some sort of weird accepting of that you don't deserve something that great right now. And you just have to accept it that way. And you're just going to push it aside or something. No. 3 of Pentacles is your challenge. Look at you. You're afraid to go build something beautiful or continue building something beautiful and take a stall. You'd rather stall right now than build something great or continue on the promises that you had kept to yourself, your heart, and to divine spirit, God, that you're going to came here to build something great. And I think that's your challenge this week, is like, you have to keep building in life. This is not about stopping. It's not about stopping. You're an Aries. Wow, look at this. You pulled the Page of Cups upright. You need to lead with your emotions, and you need to say what you want to feel. I think that you're afraid to say what you really want to feel, what's really deep in your heart, what's really deep in your emotional self and soul. And you can't do that. You got to. It's almost like you're cool with things being the way they are, and maybe want to backtrack a couple paces and just be like, okay, we're chill. No, it's not saying to do that. You're too afraid to say with the strength reversed and about building something great and beautiful and saying how you want it to be done, or saying what you really want to somebody. The shadow to this is, wow, is this me? I think that the question actually in the shadow is this me not wanting to build great stuff and afraid to do that? Is that really who you are? Are you doing something that actually is something that you wouldn't do? That's a big question. Like, are you doing something in yourself that you wouldn't do? Like thinking that you can recreate yourself right away. Maybe under Mars retrograde, that's the idea. But, I'll be honest with you. As a Leo sun who went through Mars retrograde in 2009 into 10, it literally was through that transition in New Year's. Do you think I changed? Or do you think it was that I actually stepped more powerfully into the person I wanted to be? instead of me saying, I'm going to restrict myself more from what I want. Is that really me? And I'm not going to build what I really want. It's quite opposite. Why'd you pull that strength card reversed? The Hermit. You're playing like some old sage or something. You're acting like the elderly person in the relationship and kind of not wanting to deal with it and kind of wanting to isolate yourself in your own processing. That's fine. But is that really you and what you really want to do? I don't think it is. I think it's easier to hermit than it is to be the strength and go forward into building something great. So you're acting like the really old person now? Remember, whenever I pull the Hermit card in readings, it becomes crotchety. So are you crotchety and kind of wanting to go, I need my time in my own little space? Or because you're hiding that you're afraid to step into the strength of who you are? Or maybe you have a self-worth issue going on right now. Wow, you pulled the, look at this, the beware reverse. There's nothing to be afraid of speaking your true emotional self, but you're afraid to do that. So that's why you're willing to not be yourself and not go build something great or continue building something great and stall things out because you're afraid of really speaking your true emotional self this week. Your overall that you picked is the third house communication. You can't make that shit up. You're afraid to say what you really want to say. You're afraid for your environment to be exactly the way that you want to. So you're trying to create other environments that stimulate you, but they don't do it enough. And you need to communicate and create that stimulating environment that you really want to have. You pulled Taurus 11th house, Venus. It's time to learn to connect to the greatest things. So if you're trying to disconnect, you're not going to build anything. You got to still connect with people. You can't do this whole I'm going to disconnect thing. You have to connect to get the goodies in life. And it's all about learning to connect more, better, communicate better,
more better,
find the same interests, understand other people and what they want, and deliver it in order to get what you want in life back too.
Yeah, because you don't want to walk down a path just because you feel like it's the only path that's available right now. You know, those areas, you know, you would blaze your own path. You'd go right through the middle of the forest or right down the side of a mountain. You know, just because you're going to create your own path, you're going to tap into your own force, your own strength. You know, and that's it. And that goes along with, you know, speaking your mind. Because again, you don't want to realize that you're on the wrong path somewhere down the line. It's best to lay it out on the line right now, right in front of you, and see if it's actually worth walking down that path with this individual. Because it might be, you know, you just need to communicate though. And maybe they're not communicating and they're shutting themselves off, but that's something that you need to dig out from underneath them. And that doesn't mean like an invasive way, but speak from your raw truth, you know, your love. Be comforting, be there.
Yeah, I think it's like you're Aries. Aries are leaders. So lead instead of, especially the strength reversed with this Hermit, kind of holding back the fear, but presenting it as you're doing something of a higher service when really the Hermit is not doing shit for a higher service except for its own self. And starts believing that it's doing something better. But really it's like, okay, maybe in the long term when the Hermit comes out and has some sort of knowledge that shows up out of nowhere when the White Walkers are coming down at the last minute, but in love, this is retreating into your own weird space, and you need to communicate your feelings instead of running away from him, and stop running away too. That 3 of Pentacles upright, and the challenge is like not wanting to build, or that you do want to build, but there's something coming up that's making you not, or too afraid to engage with the collective understanding. Or I'll be honest with you, that's love triangle shit. Somebody else is involved, or your head's in somebody else, and that's your challenge is maybe, oh wait, maybe I want to build with that person instead. Bring that up too. There's 3 people in that card. Love triangle. Well, those party like a Scorpio party, right?
Oh, shit. We're just popping off early, babe. Popping off.
Yeah, but still no Taurus.
Because y'all know what time it is, baby. You know what time it is, baby. Because ain't no party like a Scorpio party, baby. Who? I'm ready to get weird. Ready to get weird. Yeah.
It's a weird time.
I know, but it feels good.
All right. Scorpio's got Mercury in their sign that goes retrograde next week. So you all better figure this thing out about relationships, because Mercury opposed Uranus for the next couple of weeks. And a retrograde opposed Uranus. And then it's going to come back 3 times. King of Cups reversed. Woo. Ooh. Don't have authority over where you feel emotionally or not sure. This is a very unsure card emotionally and where you sit. That makes sense with Mercury ready to go retrograde in your sign, oppose your relationship. Well, right now, the planet in your relationship house, Uranus. This is the Libra time. It is your 12th house. There's a lot of unsureties. Square Jupiter in your head. I can see that. 10 of Swords reversed is your challenge. I think you're unsure because it just seems like the same patterns, or it's like a very same scenario that just is not changing. There's something not shifting here. I think you can give it a lot of time that you can look back and go, is something changing here? The same story, the same pattern. I'm not feeling fully emotionally involved. And that needs to be understood, because that 10 of Swords reversed is not willing to finally change the narrative. It's Einstein's, doing the same thing over and over again is insanity. Well, that's your challenge, is you're in an insanity situation that isn't making you feel emotionally fully confident. And you pulled the Star reversed, so you're too afraid to step into the fresh new slate in your love story life, or even just a next new position, wherever it might be. It's kind of wanting to stay in between instead of acknowledging the next move. So it's in purgatory. It's a shadow to this. The downcasting pride is the issue connected to the pattern. Are you really prideful about this situation? It's almost like, and I'll be honest, Scorpios like to fucking be intense and have an intense love. But there's something about this not having edge. And it's almost like, it's okay, I can downcast edge. But that's not a pattern that ever works, because at the end of the day, a Scorpio is going to look around and go, I need edge, I'm dying. Or as we're using the Vampir's deck, is there enough blood to drink out of this, Or is it like you're definitely not Lestat, you're definitely Brad Pitt drinking blood from rats. It's like, instead of eating a meal, it's like going to McDonald's constantly and getting like a 6-piece nugget and like, okay, I'm filled for the moment, and then it's dropped off, and then it's like you're not having. It's like something that you're not that prideful in, and that's the pattern. Something that you're not really. King of Cups owns the heart, owns the love, owns the emotional position. It's dripping wet with emotion. This is pretty dry. 4 of Wands reversed, the Marriage card reversed, the King of Cups. How is this going to be a celebration if you're not that emotionally into it? And that's a lot of questions, especially with this Mars retrograde in your 6th house to your 3rd house. It's more stress than it is. It's a stress inside that I think you're afraid to maybe talk about or get into, because the reality and the stimulation and all that is not meeting up. And so the celebration would never be a celebration if you're not emotionally feeling confident in it at all. You can't build a celebration of anything. You can't build a marriage. You can't build, or maybe, for those that are married Scorpios, it's definitely kind of a, There's a lot of uh-ohs. Wow, and you pulled the High Priestess with the Star reversed. So your intuition's on point. But acting off what the High Priestess is trying to tell you, it's like, well, no. I don't want to have to start over. Well, 10 of Swords is insanity if you don't. Something doesn't change here. And it's pride that's missing. So it's like not into it that much, but almost like, it's like more of a project than it is a masterpiece. Yeah, you pulled the Uranus card. That's the planet in your relationship house right now. And, you know, it is the card they say genius, or are you really a dumbass? Like, and you're going to get shocked. And this is Mercury opposing Uranus this week. I would say with Uranus in your relationship house and just overall, Uranus here is like everything needs to be connected. It can't have like, you can't have here at the studios, we have power boards, right? Like with all the fuse panels. If a fuse goes out, then a whole part of the studio goes out. All the fuses need to work. That's Uranus. Where's the short circuiting constantly happening? You got to get to the bottom of that and see if you can live with that, because you can't live with that. It's all or nothing. It's 100 or 0, black or white as a Scorpio. Uranus is trying to teach you in your relationship house, Taurus. You only get the goodies out of relationships that's got everything connected. But if it's missing in certain areas, well, it always feel like a little bit unsure, confident wise, and not really sure of what to even celebrate about it. Like you got the moon in Cancer in the first. Yeah, you got to put your emotions first. And you got to also directly allow what you feel you need emotionally, comfort-wise, to be known, to be shown. And you need to put your emotions first and see what happens and drop them down like a true Scorpio. Because if you're emotionally uncomfortable, then you're never going to get shit. And you have to also be able to identify your emotions. So one of the tests would be like, if one of your friends or somebody asks you, I always say this with people with first house issues, I'm always like, if they ask you how you felt about it, especially moon in the first people, I know a moon in the first person I'm very close with. I'll be like, hey, like, so how do you feel about this? It's like, well, and when they start identifying the emotion, they understand how they really feel because they never say it. So almost ask yourself the question, or have somebody you know close to you kind of ask maybe, and the truth will come out right there, and that's your answer.
Yeah, it is about digging deep. You know, it is about being able to express yourself fully. You know, and is this person going to accept you for that? And are you going to allow this individual into your life, you know, to move forward? Are you going to allow maybe the ability to, you know, to let them down into the dungeon, so to speak, you know? And that's not such necessarily a bad thing, but, you know, or the wine cellar, whatever you want to call it, you know, but into the depths of your soul, you know, into the true essence of who you actually are. You know, are they going to be capable of handling that? And that could be a scary thought to think about that. You know, it could be unsure within yourself, even if that's who you are, if that's who you want to be. But that is something that you're going to have a conversation with yourself about before bringing it to the table. But it does need to be brought to the table to see if it's even worth your time.
Yeah, they gotta like the smell of your butt. You know what I mean? Like let's be Scorpio. Like you better be able to get all the way down naked and be able to go sleep on the pillow of those butt cheeks and totally love everything about it. And if that partner is a Scorpio, or you as a Scorpio don't feel that way about the other person, or that person doesn't feel that way about you, and they put up some sort of wall or block and they can't get fully all the way, Scorpio won't be into it. Wow, these are going wonderful. I was just reading in the chat. It was like, I'm looking forward to my side just being glorious and so positive. I'm telling you all, folks, so this is all for the positive. This is all stuff to get you to the positive. So, it's gnarly out there. Oh, Leos. Oh, wonderful. You know, so this is the truth. All right, Leos, let's see what's going on. The Hierophant reversed. Well, definitely could feel like it's a very untraditional moment for you in time. Also feels like you don't even know where anything is. It might feel like, you know, kind of feel cut off maybe in the world, or maybe you feel like, where's the ultimate spiritual love at? And not feeling like it's there. That's almost like showing up and it's not showing up, literally. And Hierophant reversed is definitely like okay, I went to the Pope, nothing happened. Where else do I go? I think the Hierophant is wanting tradition, and when it's reversed, it's like wanting tradition, but it's not showing up. Or wanting a relationship to go to a nice ethereal place, but it's not doing that. The challenge card here would be the King of Pentacles in reversed. Well, maybe inside you feel that's your challenge, like, you know, you've done all that you can and nothing came, and you thought you gave it your best. Maybe there's more to give. The King of Pentacles has an abundance of everything. Or maybe you feel like nobody sees you for who you really are and the abundance that you have. Maybe you've been used by a force too. That's kind of crazy. Or it has to deal with, I would say, especially with this Mercury in the 4th house opposing the 10th house, it's like, this is a work, emotional, and location and balance. It's kind of weird right now. And I would also say with Mars square Pluto, it's a belief system and then the lifestyle you live. So with this King of Pentacles reversed, it's almost like the challenge is, how am I going to have everything? How am I going to have my work? How am I going to have my emotional life? I show up to things and they're not showing up in a divine way. It's almost like a feeling of an unblessing in love. Like there's no blessings happening. The 9 of Wands upright, you know, this could be you trying to find something to protect and to have and to keep into a place to where you have something worthy of holding on to. Overall, that's what you're looking for. But it feels like that's not being found. It also feels like maybe, and I'm going to do this as a counterpart too. I would say that maybe somebody has walls up too, and you can't get in, and that's what makes you feel self-worth. That am I not good enough, or am I not blessed upon? I know that I pulled the Devil card last week, and a million people started calling me the devil. It didn't make me feel that great.
Well, my mama said, everything's the devil. Just don't feel so bad.
I know. I'm just saying that, like, as a Leo, and then I'm looking at this, and then I kind of am looking at this 9 of Wands. Like the 9 of Wands wants to go out there and have something worth protecting and holding, and having something that's so good that you protect it, and that you have, you know, the guard there. But seeing this emptiness of King of Pentacles in the Hierophant is like it's like you know, being kind of castrated as like a not part of the church, right? Or not ordained by God. And then that challenge of King of Pentacles, like throwing everything you got and feel stupid because no matter how much abundance or how much value you show, it's not being seen. And that's a challenge. And the shadow to that is the artificial heart. So you might be dealing with somebody who's like closed off in the heart. Maybe you're closed off in the heart. Definitely is either one. I got a feeling though, because the overall is that you want this powerful protection, and Leo's definitely with Venus in the 2nd, trine Uranus in the 10th, definitely want to create something of tradition and value to have. So the issue here in the shadow is that Leos have been dealing with a lot of energy that's falsifying love, and then showing up with it, and then Leo showing up with it, it's not reflective back. It's not ready. And then that affects your self-worth, and that affects all this. Why'd you pull the Hierophant or Queen of Cups reversed? So it's making you not feel very nurtured at all. Or that you feel like you're giving a lot of your nurturing energy away and nobody's nurturing you back. That's hard. That doesn't feel like you have any support right now. So it kind of feels like, and even if you do and people say they got support, just overall feels like you don't have the support. And the Fool card reversed, feeling stupid, as if, should I even try to go for anything? Because what's worth fucking holding on to if I'm getting artificial heart, I'm putting everything in and nothing's showing up, or now it's affecting my self-worth. And I would say that Leos are on this is a big 9th house test with Mars retrograde here in the 9th square Pluto in the 6th. You feel really dumb overall for trying to find something of great value to defend when nothing's showing up that way. I said Mars was the issue. It's so funny. You got to keep forging forward. You can't stop. So Leo's got to keep believing in moving forward and keep showing up as the identity that you are, that there's nothing wrong with that. Some people just aren't wanting that. Or maybe you come across too intense, too heroic, and that's not something to stop. Some people can't handle power. Some people can't handle the strength that you have. Some people can't handle the light. It's too much. You know, don't feel dumb, but you do. Don't feel that you're being used, because that's only if you choose to continue to put energy in something that's not making you feel worthy or comfortable or emotionally there. Saturn in the 8th house of Leo. Oh, God. Well, Leos, yeah, it feels like you're not receiving shit. It feels like you're also not getting the deep needs that you need desire-wise. And, you know, maybe the universe is I always like to say rejection is protection. So I think that you'll receive things once you make it through this week. There's definitely who really wants to invest fully into the same heart streams that you do, and that feels blocked, but it's not. It's just a tall order. And there's not a lot of people in that space. Leos are the ones that have to show people that space. Sometimes we have to train people, literally. This one hit close to home to me.
But I like how you said, you know, you have to continue to push on, you know, and that can be hard. Leos need love, you know, Scorpios need love. We all need love, you know, and sometimes we can feel a little lost, but it is that knowing that we do have the power, you know, especially with those Leos, you know, and it can feel like your flame gets extinguished at times. Definitely, you know, but it is that having that power, tapping into that energy within yourself and continue to push on and know that it's going to work out, you know that something great is going to come into your life if you want it, you know, if you're willing to put in the effort to it. And that's the step, you know, continue to push on, showing the universe that you are ready, showing the universe that you do want it by pushing through those struggles, by striving for greatness and striving and pushing forward. It's coming around.
Yeah, someone said, as a Leo, I want to heal the world and sometimes forget about myself, so I've taken my power back. You know, Leos can definitely do that. Sometimes we feel that by us showing so much love and so much support and so much inspiration that we feel like, oh, yeah, gosh, how could you not want this? But it's like, you know, people don't. People don't like to be showered with love. Some people like to be showered with pain. And that's just that's their love language, you know? And so you just, as a Leo, have to keep being like, and then people take that as, when you back away, as pain. And then they like you more in a weird way because of that. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. It's not easy being a Leo with Aquarius being our 7th house ruler. It sucks. Like, we have to deal with fucking weirdos who can't figure it out all the time. I sound like a fucking typical Leo king, don't I? Oh, Aquarius, how funny. How funny. I was just talking about Aquarius. By the way, I wasn't talking about no Aquarius. Because some people think when I talk on this show, I'm speaking of specific people. They go crazy. Sorry, I'm not spying on you while I'm on this show. Or I thought it was funny when I had Erica on here, my ex-girlfriend, and they thought I was reading the comments. Do you think I'm reading comments right here, right now? I'm looking down at my phone and like showing you when I read comments. I don't fucking do any of that shit. Let's see, Aquarius, what's going on with you this week? The Lover's upright. Well, you did get the ultimate card, so give yourself some celebration here. Yeah. At least the celebration of, we're going to get to the bottom of your love story here. There's a lot of other cards. Definitely love's on the mind. Where's your love at? If you're in a relationship, there's definitely questions of the love. I mean, questions a lot with Mercury and Scorpio for you. Woo! Definitely dealing with, trying to understand the plan, but then there's this emotional world that's kind of crazy, and Mars retrograde square Pluto is your communication house to the things that you're getting to the truth about. There's like being kind of, let's see. The Wheel of Fortune is your challenge. So you don't feel like the wheel is turning where you want to with love. Or you're not allowing it to, right? Like the challenge might be like, hey, okay, it's moved to this place, but that's the fortune. But it's like, I don't want that fortune. I want this fortune. I want control of my own Wheel of Fortune. It's like, well, you can't play that game. You can't stop the wheel where you want it to stop. I already know that Vanna White would not, she'd come up and she'd fucking smack you in the face. So you can't control your fortune for love. 4 of Pentacles upright. Well, that's holding on to a certain value system so hard and so tight that you won't let it go. You'll even, in this card, I love the Vampires deck. It's so amazing. Like she's like even got some dark being that's literally willing to, I don't know what he would do, but he would definitely not let it be taken away from her. So this is like over holding on to a certain way things should be and holding the control of love in a certain way. The shadow to this Wheel of Fortune and challenge is hiding your true self. I think that you're too afraid to reveal your true self emotionally with Uranus in opposition to Mercury and with the Sun in Libra. Yeah, it's like, what is the story? And with all this energy squaring Pluto, and especially the T square with the Moon in Leo this weekend, while Venus trines Uranus, I would say for you, it's time to emotionally get deep into what you want and reveal who you are fully, instead of trying to control the outcome and trying to control the way that you even come across. It's just like, what's the authentic true self here? 8 of Cups upright. So this is the card of moving on in the love situation, or those feelings are coming up, or you're walking away from a great love, or you've chosen that, or you are looking in other directions, but are you walking away because you don't want to deal with revealing your true self and you're walking away for more control, or you're trying to play a dominance game? You pulled the Hangman with the 4 of Pentacles upright. So, I think you're stuck on a certain thing, on expectation, on how something should look and how something should be. And that's allowing you to just sit in hiding who you really are. And when you hide your true self, you're not your true self. And then you're controlling no fortune to come. And then you feel stuck only on that one point, which makes you then go, well, it's not that way. I walk away, and then you don't get love. So this is quite counteractive to how to handle love stories in your life right now. Your overall that you got is the 9th house. Time to open up, have faith, believe, and go with where the universe is telling you to go. It's time to create the journey. It's time to open up the doors, not close. Maybe you have to close some doors in order to open, but I'm saying that not close out completely. And, well, that Sun square Jupiter for you in the 12th is, it could feel like bad luck's happening, but that's all from your own perspective, your own faith, and your own belief systems. There's a lot of stuck energy here, but that's also kind of active. 8 of Cups, Hangman. It's like, you're not, maybe you need to look deeper at what your value systems are so deeply, and making sure that you're not walking away from ultimate love, or you're avoiding love completely because of a value system, of a belief system that's not in alignment with the spiritual truth. And communication is an issue with Mars retrograde in your 3rd to Pluto in the 12th. It's brute communication. And look at this. You got Mercury and Taurus in the 6th house. This is being a definite critical energy, and specifically getting to the point of a very exact cause of what you feel you deserve and what you feel that you need to hold on to. But you got to still build something so it can become a beautiful reality, but it has to be communicated on exactly how you want, instead of maybe expecting people to be a certain way and see the value of what it should be when they don't even know.
It almost feels like maybe you're getting in your own way and self-sabotaging, so to speak. You know,
Yes.
that you might not be doing that, you know, intentionally, but it can just be reverting back to these past tendencies, you know, where you're just continuing saying, no, it's not going to work because of X, Y, and Z, instead of allowing yourself to let it work, you know, and stop talking yourself out of something that could be great. Obviously, with those lovers cards to start it off, you know, that's a great sign. So there is love that is there, but what's the reason? What's the hang up? You know, are you just sitting there saying, no, this is not going to work? Even though there is greatness right there, maybe there's something about your partner or something about yourself that you're not exactly happy with. You got to get over that. You know, you can't continue to hold yourself back. Don't allow yourself to hold back. You know, allow yourself to love, allow yourself to move forward into some greatness. And it looks like we have a little 1K love action.
I'm seeing is 987 right now.
Psych!
Sorry, if it's not going to sit at 1K and people just want to bounce out, not going to do it.
Mine just updated.
I know my worth and value. I ain't about to do a collective love reading 1K when people are sitting there saying, we reached it at 998.
No.
Geminis,
I'm seeing people in the chat throw up 1K, so I'm like, okay, what's going on?
well, people are piecing out. So, you know what I mean? Like, they don't want to hear other people's sign. They just want to hear their own sign and bounce. That's fine. But then you fuck it up for everybody else wanting to have that 1K collective reading. So, way to go. Congratulations. All right, Gemini, let's see what's cracking for you this week. Ace of Swords reversed. I am free as your... I am free of your bullshit. I think that's your issue. I think that, you know, you have become, it's like embodying Lilith a little bit. Like, I am feeling like you've created an environment of like having your own way in many ways. I mean, but I would say that with Mercury in your 6th house opposing Uranus in the 12th, you're missing out on a lot. It's almost like the ideas in which you are putting into the reality of, especially with Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn in your 8th house, of trust issues, to Mars retrograde in your 11th house, to the sun in your 5th house. It's like there's a love world that's trying to happen, and you need to put everything of integration, but you have separation issues right now. You're separating a lot of different things in your environment and your reality. Wow, you pulled the 9 of Cups as your challenge. You're missing out on all the emotions. You're only allowing yourself to indulge in just certain places and not everything. You're not willing to incorporate all feelings. So you're only incorporating the feelings you want, but any feeling that you don't want to go through that has anything, the whole part of getting the abundance of good luck, especially in positive aspects of the 9 of Cups, is you have to embody all emotion and bring it all to one place where you finally understand it and are content. But there's something about you not willing to, and especially seeing that Ace of Swords, and especially I am free of your bullshit. I think that's a negative place to be. Or there are some Geminis who are sitting into some straight bullshit right now and they're indulging in that, and that's a problem. But I feel that, you know, there's a lot more of this kind of like separatism going on. Isolation. You did pull the Hermit. I knew you were crotchety and acting old and kind of running away right when it gets to the good stuff. You're running away. It's like running away from the fear of what's happened to you in the past and wanting to go retreat into some weird place. That's not going to work. Well, and you got this whole regret. I think that you do regret not wanting to incorporate things. And so you're too afraid to face the regret and just realize that we all have regrets, but we also don't want to live those regrets, right? Like the worst thing that we can do in life is continue to live a regret, because then we didn't experience. It's the number one thing that people say in their deathbed is, I regret not doing this. I regret not doing that. I know there's a past life regression I went through that I regretted in a relationship, not paying attention to the kids and not paying attention to my wife and the queen, right? And like going out just to battle the whole time. So well, I know what that feels like from past life regression, and I can tell you it's not worth it. Well, you pulled the justice reversed. So you were in a place of imbalanced fairness, and you feel maybe that you haven't gotten what you want. But this is I'm going to be honest, this is kind of like a negative aspect of feeling like how you present the story is like so much crap, when really it's more like you're afraid to face a real adjustment in your life to get you to the real place you want to go. And you're almost like in an imbalanced state and thinking that you're in a fucking perfect balanced state when it's quite the opposite. It's like being like an oxymoron. Especially that Mars retrograde and for Pluto. Look at that greed. You're so hungry for your own isolation into your own crotchety world and control of your own world and being into your own space, or you're obsessed with just making money or just projects right now and then running out, and you're missing out. You're having a ton of regret you're missing the whole enchilada here with the rice and the beans and the flan and the margarita with the salt. Don't get too excited, Craig.
Shaking.
There's a lot of reflection that needs to be done in Geminis and where they are missing out, because that you have totally gone into a new space of denial of the great shit. I think it's good to have self-worth. I think that this is beyond that place now. This is like where it's like stubbornness to the core. And defining your love life through stubbornness. Look at this. Your overall is Jupiter return of benefits. And that only happens when you explore and you open up to the gifts that are there to receive and the benefits that are there. And you've got, as your challenge to get through this, you need to open up to the gifts to incorporate that Nine of Cups. But there you are regretting things because you're afraid to go through something that could be what? Maybe a regret? Well, that's called risk. And I think your deepest fear with Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn in your 8th is taking risks. It's more better to receive by taking a risk than it is to regret not taking any action at all and receiving nada. You pulled Aries, 12th house, Mars. You're definitely clearing out a lot of your subconscious ego issues this week. And you know exactly what you want, but you are clouding that with other things and escaping into other places. And you're too afraid. You're in denial of facing what you really spiritually want in your life. Love-wise.
Take it from a Scorpio that the great regret would be not knowing, not asking and not actually getting to the bottom of some situations. Don't let it be unspoken. Whatever it is, it needs to be kind of divulged out into the universe. It needs to be brought to light. So whatever it is that you need to know to allow yourself to move forward, you need to address that. You need to feel confident in yourself that whatever that message is going to be, whatever that outcome is going to be, that you're going to make it, that you are going to be able to progress forward. But not knowing, that's going to eat you alive. So address those issues, and address the greatness also, address the appreciation that you feel. Lead with that too.
Yeah, I would just say that I like what you said. I'm getting to this really deep core here of a lot of Geminis in complete fear of receiving the greatest shit of their life and pushing it away and running away, and also accepting crappy situations when they know what the good stuff is, but it's like staying safe, playing it safe, making unjustified issues come up that are not true. Especially when you see that Ace of Swords reversed with Justice reversed. It's like building a case that has no evidence because it's just a case that just keeps you away from love. Or there are some Geminis that are not getting that and they need to go. And I would say if there has not been a break up or a break in a relationship for a Gemini and they haven't faced that stuff, yeah, like maybe it's time for it to be finally fucking looked at for real. But I feel like a lot of Geminis have kind of washed away, trying to wash away, or like what do they call that when Miss Hillary fucking whitewashed the files?
She wiped them clean.
It's like Geminis have like wiped clean a lot of situations that have wiped their own heart clean now. And they don't know what the hell they're doing now and how to deal with it. And they're also staying in some weird story of bouncing out. That Hermit with that card in the Vampir's deck just bounces out with the flame, and then it has like a dog standing by to make sure you don't follow it. Good luck. Because you won't get shit by being that way. Walls don't get you nothing, Gemini.
All right.
They don't get you nothing. Oh, I think it's a 1K collective. All right. We haven't done this for weeks. Now, if you've never done the 1K collective before, you get to pick a person that you are interested in, or it's your partner or somebody you're dating. You have to be talking to them though, and it has to be very apparent. It can't be one of those like, I'm going to be honest, we deal with a lot of schizophrenics. And lately it's been at extreme levels. So I am not trying to promote any negativity towards schizophrenics. I'm trying to promote, let's all be real. And if you are not engaging in conversations, not ones in your head either, or ones that you make up, ones that are actually real, dating sites, you're talking on the phone, texting, Instagram, messaging back to each other, it's your lover, like that's the person you pick, not somebody that you hope for, that you send fucking, there's some people on my fucking Instagram that literally for a year write to me 8 times a day as if they're in a whole love relationship with me, and I've never met them in my life, and I can't even scroll up. It would take hours, and it's the most insane shit I've ever read in my whole entire life. So what I'm saying is like, wake up, and nobody's spying on you. If I say baking soda and there's baking soda in your house, not because I fucking am spying on you. Got me frustrated, and I'm putting that frustration out there because there's other people that probably deal with it too, and mainly women, right? Dudes who fucking assume a bunch of shit about you, and like, it's like, whoa. So if you do this reading, you have to be real. It has to be somebody that you're actually talking to and you want to see what's going on, because you can't move it on another person either and be like, well, it sounds like more like this person. No, it's just on this person, and that's how it is. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds here to put that person up in your vision, and you got to stay there too and hold their energy, and we're going to see what's going on between you and this person. You got 5, you got 4, you got 3, you got 2, you got 1. Judgment reversed. You feel like it's an unfair situation. You feel like this person's judging you. You feel, look at Barbie is on. She's at the police station and she's getting her pictures taken for her file. But you feel it's unwarranted judgment. Four of Wands in reversed. That's the challenge. Maybe you guys were together, or maybe you want to be together and I can't be there. Maybe you were together. Maybe you were married. This is the marriage card. And you feel that you've been judged and something has happened to erase the whole party. Or the party just can't get there because there's judgments. The Hangman reversed. Well, the outcome of this, or the overall, is saying, okay, there's nothing really holding you back, or this person, there's nothing really holding them back. So that's, I think, creating a lot of questions about it. The shadow here is the child I was meant to be. So this person might be judging you based off expecting, as if they wanted it to look a certain way and wanted the celebration to look a certain way. And I think love is a story that, there is no exact way things are supposed to look. And I think that for you, that there's a lot of this like pinning on you as if you created a disruption. The Judgment card is coming up because of the High Priestess. So it's almost like being spiritually judged. Like you aren't being good spiritually. Or it could be somebody that is doing some weird magic to create a spell on you, to take over you in some sort of control. You're spelled by this person. Like you can't let go, even when you are being judged. You're mystified by this person, but they're still judging you, and you still are mystified because you can't figure out why when you know it's not true. Look at this Wheel of Fortune with the Hangman reversed. Maybe the fortune is that you're free from the situation and you don't even realize it. Like, why would you want to go through being spelled and being judged? Why would you want these expectations of how it should look that are so not looking at the celebration and what the love really is? A lot of cynicism, a lot of criticism. Look at this. You are the one that has the sensing, that understands. But this person is going off their sensing too. But what does sensing create? Sensitivity. This person is hypersensitive. And I think that how do you deal with a hypersensitive person? It's like playing Operation. You touch one part of that game wrong and it buzzes. And it's like you barely touched it, but it will buzz. And this person, like, you just make one little wrong move and fucking and after a while, of course you're going to feel like you've been judged. But the truth is like, they're just super sensitive. How do we get through the sensitivity? The Hermit. Man, that Hermit is coming up a lot in all these decks. They need to grow up. But they're also lost because they've secluded themselves, and that's why you hate it so much. And they've secluded themselves from you. Even if you're with this person and there's something like you feel their aura is not with you. Jupiter, first house, Pisces. Well, the benefits for you are by letting it go and letting spirit reign its course. That there's no action to take except the action of surrender. And by asking the universe for the energetic vibration soul-wise of what you want to come in. And if this person will come in, they'll come in. If they're not, they're not. And you have to let it go. I think that I'm helping a lot of people right now, whoever they're looking at, that there's a deep issue on learning how to let it go.
And we can allow ourselves to get lost, even if this individual is someone that we love, we can kind of walk down that road and get lost with them, instead of being able to stand in that strength and kind of pull them out of the darkness, pull them out of their funk. Don't adapt to them, bring them up, show them your strength, show them that there is a way out of it, show them that there is love, that you have that love for them. But at the same time, if they're not open to receive it, if they're so far down that hole, then you have to let it go, because you can't allow yourself to lose your strength. You can't allow to lose your life, because it is unique to you. That is that one life that you're going to be aware of for the remaining days here on earth. So how do you want to spend those? Do you want to spend those lost, or do you want to spend those loving and in light? It can be tough, but those are the decisions that we have to make. That is why life is so great, because of these tough decisions that are put in front of us at every moment in life.
Yeah, and the sensitive card sense though would be that you can show up and try all you want, and then if they're too sensitive, you're going to feel more sensitive because no matter what you try, they keep projecting back this spell and mysticism, but there's a judgment behind it, and there's not a, it's almost like they're not really showing up, right? Like they're not there, and you can't understand it, which creates an extremely high sensitivity within yourself. So actually it like becomes like their sensitivity issues are becoming now your sensitivity issues even more extreme, and you don't want to fucking be in that kind of place. You don't want to also try and convince somebody. If you have to convince somebody and you have to go to trial to convince somebody just to get to something as natural as love, that's not fucking fun. Shouldn't have to go. You go to court to get out of a marriage. You don't go to court to get into a relationship.
All right, we are halfway through the zodiac.
Cancers. That was deep. Oh, thank you for the $20, Joanna M. Wow. All right, Cancers. Let's see what's going on with you. Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, another explosion bomb. Did they get that? I don't remember. I forgot who got that last week. Six of Swords. Time to move on to the new waters. New location. Bomb's gone off. If you know, I'm on YouTube, so it's like, why do you think we have high vibe? If Hiroshima event were to happen, what's the first thing you do? Is you get the hell out of there to a better place. That's the Six of Swords. This is like one of the best renditions of the Six of Swords I've ever seen, because usually it shows like a very tranquil boat with a woman who's put her, like, you know, with her child, who's put like a blanket over themselves and kind of put it in, like, you know, the person's taking them across the water to the other side. This is kind of like, are you going to move to the best position? Or are you going to just sit there and get pummeled more? Your challenge is the Queen of Swords upright. Not knowing, I think the challenge is that you think that you understand everything, although it's not showing up that way. The universe is telling you to go a different direction, but you're like, no, I already know the direction I'm going. The universe is showing a different direction. If a Hiroshima event were to happen in life, right? Maybe you thought going in the bathtub was better, but what if that bathtub was gone? Like, you know, like you have to go somewhere else.
I'm just going to wrap some tinfoil on my head and call it a day.
Or like in Indiana Jones 4, he goes into a refrigerator.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? Yeah. I wouldn't recommend that for today. They're not the same. Those are old cast iron, like, you know, fridges and shit.
Yeah, just hide it under your table and it'll be okay.
Not a lot of clarity here that you think that you have. Overconfidence and clarity, which is not true. Or creating the idea and the story that you have control of the narrative in your head and the facts when you don't. Wow, your overall is the part of fortune upright. So, I mean, allow the wheel to turn where it's supposed to go in life for the ultimate fortune, especially by crossing over to a different side of the bridge here. But that's the issue, is that you think you know how to do that, but you don't. The shadow of that is because you're calling the storm. You want to just keep calling the storm out. Let me just call this craziness out by continuing to stay in the storm, because I think I know how to handle the storm. If you were in a Category 5 hurricane, would you call on another storm to come through? It's like, I feel like that's what Cancers are doing. Like I want to be tested so much. How far does that test go? Ironically, that's like a test. And then they used to put those, in the 50s and 60s, they used to put those families in those cities and with dummies, right? And then they would like see how they reacted to the explosion. Are you in that position? Are you a test dummy? Ten of Swords reversed. The only way out of the continuing situations that aren't changing is to move to a new place. Move in a new direction. Move to a better side. I mean, it's more than a new direction. It's like literally like a migration. That's hard for Cancers right now. I said, in this week's horoscopes, you can watch on High Vibe for Cancers this week. It's like, is reputation or trying to defend a reputation and more of a public image in relationships more important than the relationship itself? Or undue responsibilities and emotions that are required in order for you to stay in something? Why'd you get this part of fortune? That's what I'm interested in. No, you pulled the Lovers reversed. Ooh. The fortune is through reassessment of the love situations itself. And definitely ones that continuing on patterns that aren't stopping, that aren't finally finishing. This Mercury in Scorpio is in your 5th house of love. It's opposed Uranus in your 11th, telling you that love is in other directions and other places, but you don't want to listen. This is bringing up the stuff from 2018 in November, in October and November, that said the same thing, but it was like glossed over. Now it's not being glossed over. Well, you got to choose yourself. First house, the body, right? The whole entire definition of your life and your life path and your life destiny and your soul. The definition of that. What you also really want. Do you really want a storm to be called because you think that you know how to handle it? I don't think that you do. 10th house, Venus, Aries. Well, that's making big choices about what you really want in your life and doing it, opposed to restricting yourself of what you really want. That's the big difference. The fall of Venus and Aries will take on the identity of something that it doesn't want to have, especially in the 10th house, and restrict yourself and try and stay responsible for things that you don't feel that you need to be responsible for. And it also is the prop of, it's literally a prop. Venus and Aries, I call it the blow-up doll in the zodiac, or a better way to put it would be the, like here on sets, right? Like it looks like this great set and everything, but really it's the facade, right? Like it's like, this is just a bunch of plywood and shit, you know what I mean? Like it's not a real like house we're in or something, It's like when you go to Universal Studios and you actually see like the cities look like cities, but behind them there's no stores, there's no rooms. It's just the facade that's up. You have to face the facades this week.
And it's certain, about blowing up maybe like a certain aspect of the relationship, maybe blowing up a certain aspect of yourself, that you've been needing to change that you might not been facing, and that could be creating hardship in your relationship, or vice versa. It could be your partner that's not willing to change. And that's something you have to that's something you have to kind of figure out, is it an aspect of you that needs to adapt to them or vice versa? And is it even worth your time? There is obviously something that needs to be addressed within that relationship, or addressed within yourself, because again, that goes hand in hand. The relationship with yourself is going to be the output of that relationship with your partner, so maybe it is facing your own demons. Maybe it is allowing yourself to say, okay, I was fucking up in this aspect. Or it could be on your partner, but there is something that needs to be addressed. There is something that needs to be brought to the table and that needs to be discussed. Then you can decide whether it is time to walk away or to continue to allow this to grow.
It reminds me of Pinocchio's nose. Like, how long is that nose going to get? Is it going to start growing leaves on it? Is it starting to attract a flock of seagulls that are able to sit on that nose? Do you need a plastic owl now? Or are you going to stop lying to yourself and let the nose come back to normal? Or do we need to get a plastic owl? Because the bird poop on this thing on your nose probably is not fun. If you don't know what a plastic owl is, I would look it up. That was a good one. Cappies. I'm actually pretty stoked for Capricorns if they can pull this one off. Let's see what's going on. Knight of Swords reversed. Well, you can't save the day anymore, Capricorn. I think that you think that you can swiftly come and save some sort of situation. You don't need to swiftly go into any savior mode here. If anything, you need to swiftly fix where you are doing all the work and nobody else is doing it, or the other part is afraid to swiftly move into something too. That could be Knight of Swords reverse, like afraid to actually be swiftly attack the issues and problems. We'll get a little bit more clarity here. The challenge is the Tower. That's why I was saying, like, this can be very good, actually. Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter are now direct in your sign. It's time to restructure your whole entire identity in life and what you want. Square your Mars retrograde in your 4th house with the sun in the 10th. This is definitely a Tower moment. That's the challenge, but not to be afraid of it. Not try and save a falling tower. And to go build a new tower in your love life here. You did get the 5 of Swords in reversed, so the overall is to not try too hard. That anything that you have to try too hard for is not worth doing, especially with the Knight of Swords reversed. Especially if it's a tower that's coming down. Look at this is a tower that's barren. Straight. No, not barren Trump. Your shadow is the temple of my body. I always look at this card as somebody who's taking way too seriously the physical reality of their nature, of their self and their body, but in such a negative way that it's like you're taking things too seriously. Especially, I would say, I'll be honest with you, the temple of my body, it's like you're putting so much emphasis on one part instead of the spiritual essence itself. And I would say that it also, to me, with the Tower card here, would be that the physical nature of something is not resonating, or you're not seeing the beauty anymore in somebody that's ending. And does your body deserve that? When you pulled the 7 of Pentacles upright, it's about building something over a long period of time and getting the return, not just swiftly saving the day on something. Is the return really there? And if there's no return, you just can't, Knight of Swords reverse, think, it's like the stock market, right? Like you invest a lot of money and then there's a big drop in the Dow or drop in the NASDAQ, or even if you're in crypto, there's just a drop. Or if you've never invested before, I don't know, you put a bunch of energy into a job and then they fire you out of nowhere. And then if you think that you just go run in there and just yell and scream and get what you want. No, it's more like, let me get the fuck out of here and go find something better. Or you can't just call up everybody on the Dow, on the floor of the Dow index and just be like to traders, like, fix this for me. It's like, no, like, so I don't know what to tell you. The stock went down. Like, reinvest in things that are going to give you new investment that's going to pay off. Maybe that was a bad investment. Temperance card is your overall. So you don't need to try hard because things naturally should be working and flowing in a beautiful state for your body. It shouldn't be a tower that has to fall, and it should naturally give you a return. If it's not natural and it feels like this unnatural situation that continues to pop up, and it has been, and you have to keep trying hard and you keep fighting for what you want, and you feel like it's not natural and it's not aesthetically natural either, like energetically, like, what are you doing, Capricorn? This is the new you. It's here. Your overall that you got is the Cancer card. Your feelings are very sensitive and you're going through a lot of feelings. I get it, but those feelings need to go. I should only put energy into them if they are naturally flowing correctly. And anything that's not, I can't rush in and try and fix them or anything. That's just what it is. Because I think that feelings are so many different emotions and so many different angles and ways. And I think that you're going through overwhelming, feeling transit. Mars retrograde square Pluto is an extreme emotional transit. Do you have control of your emotions enough to just stay with what's in peace and harmony and not trying to overblow situations or stay in even emotional situations and hold situations where you're getting no return? You're getting no natural energy. I'm going to switch this too. This temple of my body is almost like, are you hanging on to energy that's already the tower that you're not attracted to anymore? Aries, 8th house Saturn. So yeah, you feel like you're not receiving what you want at all. You don't feel like you're getting the investment at all in return that you want to. And I think that, Saturn's trying to tell, Aries here, like, hey, like, stop going at it. You're not getting the investment, but there's a part of you like, no, I'm going to keep going. Well, Saturn's trying to say, like, maybe it's about that you don't know how to attract what you want in better, the energy that you put out. And also, if you're with something that you're not attracted to, well, you're never going to get a return off that because of course, it's not in alignment with who you are and what you identify with. So you have to let that go. You have to put an end to it, and that's hard in order to attract what you really want.
Correct, because, could come down to a little bit of self-worth as well, because you attract what you're putting out into the universe, So if maybe at some point there was maybe a moment where, you weren't too happy about yourself, maybe that's looks, personality, career, whatever it is, And so then at that moment that attracted an individual into your life, and they've held on to that where they're just not on your level. And that's something that needs to be addressed, You need to have someone in your life that fully appreciates you, that fully loves you, that fully desires you. Not at every moment, but at most moments, we all have our ups and downs. But you can't forget that about yourself, because that's going to perpetuate the issue. That's going to continue to allow that energy into and kind of suck that life force out of you, So stand strong with that, know your beauty, know your worth, appreciate yourself fully for the good and the bad aspects of your life, because that is you at the end of the day, the good and the bad. That's all of us.
Yeah. I think, Capricorns need to know exactly what they want and stop fucking around with what's not showing up the way they want to. Take initiative. Define your life the way that you want to.
4 more.
We've got Virgos.
Virgos, come on down.
Those Tauruses just want to keep going last. Our last 3 signs after this is Sag, Pisces, and Taurus. Oh, those 3 definitely are in some funky waters. Actually, everybody's in funky waters right now. All right, Virgo, let's see what's going on with you with Venus in your sign this week. 7 of Wands upright.
Whoa.
That's a good card. I mean, it's definitely taking a position.
Is that Space Invader on there?
No, that's Pac-Man.
Oh, Pac-Man. There you go. Nice.
But it feels like, to get what you really want in life, yeah, you're going to have to hold position. You can't freak out when it feels like the walls are closing in on you of other little ghosts to kill Pac-Man here or Mrs. Pac-Man. Like, you got to stand strong and tall to get what you want in your love life. You just can't emotions or anything that's coming after you. Mercury in your second, opposing Uranus here in your third, and it's your mind. You're freaking out when you need to just hold what you really want and learn how to hold what you want, and also get rid of what you don't want too. If you don't want it and you're holding on to it, yeah, it's going to feel like pressure. Like Mrs. Pac-Man's getting jammed here. Pac-Man's getting jammed. But just hold the line. Don't freak out. 5 of Wands in reversed is your challenge. It's like you don't want any confrontation, and that's the problem. You need confrontation in love. Like, it's not negative confrontation, but it is like tension that happens that creates love. But it's like you're avoiding any tension. It's like when tension shows up, oh, I don't want to deal with that. So, like, there's a problem. Well, then you're not going to have anything, including Pac-Man. The game doesn't go without the tension of the ghost always trying to, and that you have a timer and you have to eat all those little, what are those? Like little Pac-Man, little bots to keep it going. But it's almost like you don't want to play the game. That's the other thing of 5 of Wands. It's sportsmanship. It's athletics. It's like you don't want to play the game. Like and love is a game a little bit, right? Like it's it can be fun, right? Like it's the whole getting into the whole process, but it's like denying yourself of the true love game that you want to be in and playing the ultimate safe story, especially with this Jupiter Neptune sextile in your 5th and your 7th. It's a big deal. Like doors are opening for love, but it's like you're almost afraid to walk through them to the real ones or walk out of the ones that you see are not in alignment. You pulled the 3 of Cups upright. So I think overall you want that deep party. Or maybe that's your issue, is like maybe, but it not might be an issue. It just might be that maybe you would just rather have a life where you're flaunting around, that you want to see more people, that you want to keep seeing others, that you want to keep exploring new territory. And if you're in a relationship, like, yeah, that would be kind of hard if your eyes are wandering at the party of other people. But we can look at this card also as just a card of wanting the relationship to be a party. Yet that means it requires you to go into the game and to be in it. So you can't have the party if you're not willing to hold strong on it and go through there's going to be conflict, the tension, but that's what creates the party itself. The shadow to this of not wanting to be the game is the envious gluttony. It's like, you want people to feel sorry for you or something. Like, or you're trying to create the opposite of that. Like, you shouldn't feel sorry for me. Like, I have, like, you're, like, you could be put, like, a Virgo could be pushing, like, being too, gluttony is a weird sin. It's like being just overly done of enviousness, right? Like you're just envious of me for not wanting to play the game or something. But that's the shadow of like trying to dominate and have it just be this like perfect story, which requires you to actually be part of the game opposed to deny yourself of it and doubling down on not playing the game or seeing confrontation. Like you're never going to find true love there. There's going to be tension, even in, you know, any love story. Romeo and Juliet too. I don't even know where you want to go. You can go anywhere. True Romance. It's a great movie. There's going to be some tension. It's going to be a game. Fun. An edge that builds love. Love is, Leo is drama. If you're afraid of drama or you're going to create drama, that's a problem. The Chariot upright. Look at this. This is time for you to move into the area that you know is being called to by divine guidance, into where you need to go. That is the real place that you will hold the line for in your life, that you will hold for the ultimate. You're being called to go there. Why'd you pull this 3 of Grails? Oh, you pulled the Justice. This is time to have the party of your life. That's exactly what's going to align your life, but you are holding off. But you're like almost like envy. Maybe you're envious of the person, or you're scared of the person because that they compete at a level energetically with love that's intense, and maybe you're afraid of that. Maybe you're choosing the safe route to be envious of them and what they have and what they could have, and that you don't deserve it. And that's why I'm feeling more of the feel sorry for me, but putting it off is the opposite. And you pulled Saturn. Look at this. It's time to deal with the truth. It's in your 5th house. It's time to build the ultimate reality of love. And you have to be honest with the truth within your own issues, with your own envious gluttony based upon not wanting to show up and fight for anything and go into anything fully and have the ultimate party that's the ultimate justice in your life, and balance out, you know, a party of great energy and love to move into, opposed to just some sort of party that will be just fucking around, which that's not bringing you any justice. It's not going to bring you to a relationship. The balance beams. Your Astro dice, you pulled the 10th house of Aquarius with, is that the North Node? Yeah. It's time to focus on connecting to the ultimate long-term responsible vision of your life. It's time to find connection, and it's time to disconnect from what's not along for your journey, but it's time for you to advance in your life. Both are Saturn ruled. You got the Saturn card. It's time for you to take responsibility. It's time for you to own situations and go to a higher place instead of sitting in your own emotional way of how it should be in your own happiness emotionally only. And it's not taking you anywhere. It's just keeping you kind of alone in this emotional happiness, but it's not really that happy. It's an illusion.
And what's been revealed to you, what's been revealed about your own truth? David's saying, maybe that vibe's a little too intense for you, but maybe that's something that you need in your life to kind of pull you out and to propel you forward in your life. Maybe you've kind of been limiting yourself, limiting your energy flow. And maybe you need that partner to kind of pick you up and pull you through. But what is it that you really want in your life? Do you want that raw intenseness, or do you want to kind of settle back into a little bit of more of a mellow vibe? Maybe that's you, and that's great. Whatever that is, though, you need to figure it out. You need to abide by, and you need to live by your own rules. Someone can't make them for you, and someone can't force you into love if it's not there, and someone can't force you into life, or they can, but you should not allow them to force you into life that you're not comfortable living. So it's something that we all need to look within ourselves as to what we truly desire.
Yeah, there's definitely a push and pull, and that's why I think the Five of Wands is about, people have different perspectives, right? 5 wands, and they're all trying to come together. But it's that tension of like, okay, I'm fighting for this, and you're fighting for that, but like, where do we find that point to where we can come together and all come together, opposed to not showing up at all? Because then you'd be like, in Braveheart, you'd be like, when the Scots are finally got William Wallace and everything's going good, and they betray, the lords all betray Braveheart, right? They betray William Wallace, and then they all don't show up to the field. And they were all too scared. And they were all saying, noblemen. Remember his creepy old dad that had leprosy? Do you have leprosy? No. Don't start acting like you do. Sag is, wow, Pisces and Taurus are last. All right, Sag, I'm hoping for the best for you on this one. You might just have it. Let's see. 3 of Cups upright. Woo. Another party. All right. Look at this. Is like a party. That's an electric party. They're in their bathing suits. They're having a good time. It's time for you to, are you having a good time? Are you having the time of your life? It's the prime time of your life. Don't do it now. Are you having the prime time of your life? I mean, I'm honestly, this sun in the 11th house it's a good time for you to electrify your life and connect. But with the sun squaring Jupiter, your ruling planet this week in the 2nd house, it's like, are you holding off from believing that you can't have like this ultimate extreme party story? Like, are you just gonna take, I'm gonna be honest, Sag, are you just taking like the old man and the old ladies road, like, when there's a party? Turn down that racket music. No, that's not who you are. 9 of Wands in reverse. Okay, I think that your challenge is you're trying to have a party when you don't even really are unsure how much you want to fight and how much you want to protect whatever you have. Maybe you're overprotecting. Maybe your issue is that it's time to tear down some walls and explore the world and explore the party a little bit more. That 9 of Wands, it definitely is a card that projects protection. With it reversed, it's almost like maybe you don't even know if you want to show up and protect anything. It's time to go seek the party. And like, maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe you're just having trouble identifying if you should protect something or not. Because maybe somebody's trying to control you to not allow yourself to go express yourself the way that you want to and the happiness and the emotion that you want to. When you pull the Hierophant as your overall, it's time for you to really see, like, would you marry this person? Would you go all the way now if they asked you? Or if you are married to this person? It's like, is it allowing you to still be your authentic, wild, and awesome Sag self? Or are they like having you kneel at them? I feel like somebody's having control over you from being in the party. And the challenge is you don't want to protect it. Or you don't want to be the guard to it either. It's like, Go guard yourself. Somebody's convincing you to guard yourself from what you really want to experience. And that's because you are peaceful among thorns. You are okay in a horrible place. It reminds me of being in jail. Eventually, after the first 3 days, it's a horrible place to be, jail, especially prison, military prison. It's not a fun place to be, especially with, I don't even have to go into it. Just, there's not a lot of creeps. And I was in there just because I fucking partied. So this is actually kind of like a reading on how I went through life at one point in my life. And you eventually just start to find the peace within that place. But don't get comfortable there. I could tell you that every day I counted my days. And I was like, I am 16 days away. I am 14 days away. I'm 11 days away. I'm 10 days away. And I remember it was like halfway through, they were like, you know, you have, if you're on good conduct, you'll get 5 days off early. I'm like, what? It's really 25 days. So my 11 cut down to like 8. I was like, or what would that be? 6. I was like, oh, I remember that. That was a great feeling. I was peaceful among the crappy situation, but I also didn't accept that as my peaceful place. That's your shadow. I'm peaceful in a place that actually has a lot of thorns around me, a lot of insecure issues around me that I'm even unsure if they want me to defend or they're just having me defend myself so I don't go do what I really want to go do. I mean, Mercury is in your 12th house. You're lost. It's opposing Uranus in your 6th house. It's reality check time about whether or not that world is truly stimulating. You did get the 2 of Swords in reverse. You're not blindfolded and dumb. Like, you know, like you're not being forced. Like you feel it, like, oh, I'm unsure if I should really go to what I want. That's your issue, is like, you are sure, but you're now doubting your surety. There is no blindfold on you because it's reversed. You're not spiraling out of control out of the end of some helicopter in Mission Impossible. But that's what you believe, and that's what you believe about the ultimate life that you want. Like, oh no, I'm gonna have to spiral out like some fucking crazy Mission Impossible. You are in Mission Impossible because you're not spiraling out like Mission Impossible. And that you got this. Or you're just a single Sag sitting around. And you gotta remember, I say this for all people, whether you're in a relationship or not. Right? Like, it could just be you that's just afraid to make a choice about the better life you want, or even go to a party, or go explore what you want, or you're peaceful among a place you don't want to be and you don't know what to defend, or you put the walls up when you don't need to, or you're putting walls up for things that are evil. I don't know what there is, but there's something about this Hierophant card and the way that this one is set up that there is a dark kind of force that is putting you into submission. And it's not hot, sexy, like playing Dom, because you're not getting anything in return. You pulled the Death card reversed with this. You feel like you're doing an injustice to a force that actually, I think that you need to recheck and see if that force is coming from a good place, from either the partnership or whatever the situation is. You're afraid to just change the story of, especially change the story of one that you've created the tradition that it's okay to be peaceful in an uncomfortable place that nobody would want to be in, that those walls need to come down, but it's like, that's your challenge. You don't know how to do it. You feel like you have to spiral out of control in order to get to the place that you want to be, because there is some sort of force telling you that you can't be fully what you want to be, or you feel like if you did do what you really want to do, that you would spiral out of control and that you would go into a place because you're unsure if you should do it and all that stuff. The unsurety is the fear because of not what you really want. It's the fear of the death of something that feels like it has some sort of power over you and it's almost creating some sort of divine power that you're afraid to put an end to. And the octopus ain't gonna, if anything, the octopus is holding you there, right? It's sucking you into that. But with it reversed, it's like, let those tentacles unsuck you out of that and see what really happens. It's not as scary as you think. It's scary already being in. Look at this. This is all about money. Second house owning. You know, again, it's all about self-worth, or you feel like this energy, or wherever you're at right now, it's about your own value or the value of it, and owning it or just having it is benefiting you in some sort of way, or it's a transactional relationship. I've been saying that so much with the astrology, with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in your fucking direct in your second house. If there was any time that Sagittarius were being owned, it would be now. You guys are like owned pets. And that's not who you are. Look at Britney Spears. Do I have to like really drop the hardcore bomb? Look at Britney Spears. She is owned by her father and controlled with her money that she made, that she took the risk with. She's even having to be approved of who she fucking dates with her boyfriend. He's like an approved boyfriend because he goes along with the story. Well, I know fact of girls who show me text messages of him hitting her up or them up while he's with Britney. I've said that one a million times, so that's how you know he's in on it too. And he's probably getting paid by the pops. Is that what you're in? There's money involved. I don't care. I'll call every fucking Sag out for the end of time. You guys got Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto in the second house. I don't care. Sag risings. Or you're obsessed with money and not relationship. Or you have really fucked up values about love and holding you back. You got Leo, Venus in the third house. This is time for a party. Gee, mini Christmas. That is the Three of Cups in many ways, but it's the ultimate party of love and happiness, and also the environment that's going to be loving. It's like, get around a loving environment instead of a false loving environment that's like trying to own you. Because when you feel owned, Sages don't feel free. And this is Sages' break out of prison love story moment for the ultimate true love of happiness and an environment that's inviting them of their own sovereign love and self, that's what is respected and wanted, opposed to other parts of who you are. Or you're allowing it because you want to be owned, because you're getting something in return that's not love, but just of monetary value, of security or safety, which Mars retrograde in your fifth, square that. Not going to get love by being owned, or if it's transactional.
And don't be a pacifist in your own life, you know? You need to be the driver of that. Davey over there says that there's a party on hand, you know? Is there someone that's limiting you from fully expressing yourself?
100.
Don't be the pacifist in your own life, you know? You hold the power. You hold the truth, you know? You hold the key to your own existence. And don't let anybody dilute that. Now, whether that is monetary value, love value, whatever that is, you hold your own value, but don't sell yourself short. You have that power within you to make those decisions for what it is that you want. You have the power to say, this is my value. This is what I'm going to take. Nothing less. But what is that? We all draw our own line in the sand, but you just need to figure out where that is and mark that out.
Look at Brad Pitt's love story right now. Do we know who he's with? Is he really with Jen back again? No. Is he? Well, he is going back to Angelina for the kids. Is he a puppet for both? And being controlled by both? Like Jen's almost like Aquarian, like, okay, I've got control. Like, you know what? You had a good week. You did everything that I told you to do, so you can come and hang out with me tonight, Brad. And then it's Angelina, like, if you don't fucking do this shit, I'm going to make your life a living hell because of you doing that and expressing yourself this way and that way and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And we all know it's not like fucking she's perfect. Start looking at celebs once in a while. Look at the sad story for celebs. It's sad. It's tragic. They're being owned. Look at Billie Eilish. Is her career owning her to where maybe her handlers don't want her fucking being in a love story right now? Because she looks more better being the independent, raw version of who she wants to be? Or she's to keep her love story secret? Lots of secrets with Mercury in your 12th. Lots of secrets going down since 2018 with Venus that went retrograde there. Don't start fucking around and start telling me there are none. Oh, it'll all come out too, whether or not you want to keep staying in that fucking crazy situation. Well, Tauruses are not last. It will be Pisces. I try to help Sagittarius a lot there. Sometimes I have to, being an astrologer for 17 Mag, or I don't even know how many places I've been an astrologer for, and calling every single relationship situation correctly last year. Every single one on 17, all my articles. Even the Scott Disick and Courtney getting back together at that one place, and him that one, like, or the fake relationship of Cole Spalding or whatever his name is, and Lily or whatever her name is. They're millennials, I don't remember. Call that one out. I mean, believe it or not, my best predictions are love predictions. Besides predicting 2020's Rona and warning people for 3 years that it'd be used to control people, and many other things that went along with that. And I'm just tooting my own horn here because I feel like Sagittarius are in denial. All right, Taurus, let's see what's going on with you. I hope you're not in denial with me tonight. Look at this, 5 of Cups. You're saying bye, bitch, to somebody. Something just is not working out emotionally. Something, you're not getting it all, but it's like, it's a hard line because it's not like you're losing everything, but you're definitely not getting all that you wanted. Or maybe you just have to own and say, hey, I'm not getting what I wanted. I'm ready to say bye unless you address these things. Especially with Mercury opposing your sign and with Uranus here, you're definitely dealing with some really weird communication situations and relationships, and especially with Uranus there. You need what you need, and you need that connection, but Mercury's opposing it. And of course, we've got this Sun in Libra. This is a weird time about your reality and making sure in your health, if you're not getting what you need emotionally, and you're not getting your happiness with Venus trine Uranus, I mean, gee, Merry Christmas. You're going to have to say bye, or at least, I don't want to say threaten, but at least draw the boundary line there. You did get the Queen of Wands in reverse. That's your challenge. You feel stupid. You got into a stupid situation. Or you feel like you've been in a really stupid situation a long time. And now this is the week where you're ready to do something about it. And it's bringing up, again, reminiscence of October, November of 2018. Your overall card is the 4 of Swords. You need to find a place where you can actually truly feel that you are connected deeply. Look at the blood bond here. Ooh. The true bondage of a place where you can lay down your swords and rest and feel at home and feel bonded with somebody. And I think that's the issue, is I think that somebody's not connecting fully with you in the bond that you need. And it doesn't feel restful because it feels like you're having to question everything every second right now. And look at this, revenge. I think that's definitely not the shadow part that you need to play, is trying to go for revenge right now. I don't think it'll play out too well with that Queen of Wands, and you just realize that you were dumb and you fell for something that wasn't it true, maybe because of even things that you have to own in within yourself. I don't think it's so much about the other person, but I think it's a lot of lessons of how you handle and how you conduct yourself and how you choose. And it's a two-part thing. Other people are going to cut their hand and do a blood bond if they feel that they want to do that blood bond. It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to show up and do it. And maybe you didn't do it back at the time when they said they were, and then they feel a little discouraged. Because you're dealing with a lot of weird stuff with relationships, with people, with Neptune, and the bounciness and the uncertainty that you are with people. And you're dealing with a lot of weird stuff here with Mars retrograde in your 12th house. These are your subconscious issues that are coming back to kind of karmically square to Pluto in your 9th, like show you a different story. And I don't want to say karmic, but like reap karma, but like, let's see, well, you got that. You got the Knight of Earth, so you got the Knight of Pentacles reversed. I think that you are stopped right now in a self-worth issue of not getting what you emotionally want, and you need to keep the train moving here. Instead of staying stuck, you feel stuck. You feel stuck. It actually could be hurting you emotionally. And all you can think of is the revenge or the pissed off or I'll never get in love again or da-da-da-da-da. I think that you need to drop that and you realize you just got to keep trucking on. Your Four of Swords popped up because of the Hierophant. God, this Hierophant's popped up a lot. It's definitely a divine, all-in, willing to, whether that's marry or willing to be fully spiritually there, but that's a two-part system. And I think that you know, if somebody's not willing to commit the same way that you are and the same emotional bond and security and emotional feelings, then it's not going to work. Like, you can't be the one only that wants to show up, or when somebody else wanted to show up and you didn't want to show up and now you want to show up and now they don't want to show up. I think those are kind of the bouncy issues that you're going through right now. Wow, you got the Jupiter abundance. I think that it's like, go for the abundance of opening the doors. And what do you already have that is maybe abundantly there that you need to find? Maybe it's already another partnership that you didn't do that bond, that they were willing to do that bond. Or maybe you need to approach things differently. It is the ninth house. It's time to remember, what story do you want? And you've been showered with abundance. So it's time to maybe look around for that abundance and staying stuck on the non-abundant situations that you're in. You pulled the third house, Pluto, Leo. Yeah, I would say that this is destroying the idea of the happiness that you thought it was, but it's in order to transform you to the ultimate happiness and the ultimate environment and the communication and the truth that you're looking for. So, pretty clear to me.
It's almost like you need to tell that individual, just hold on, because I'm going forward, you know. Use that momentum that you've accumulated through life. Use that momentum that is your force, you know, as a Taurus, and push forward. And if they're not going to continue with you, then fucking leave them. You know, if they're not going to kind of, you know, it's when you, you know, when you're swimming through water, you know, kind of you drag your hand through and then that leaf kind of follows you right behind you. It's following that momentum of life. You know, it's following that force you are putting through. Are they going to keep up? That's up to them. You know, if they're not, don't sabotage your own self. Don't limit your own self. You know, continue to push forward, continue to adapt, continue to live your life fully.
Yeah. And if you have, it's like, I feel like with Tauruses also, might be single ones especially, it's like, move this story forward. Don't stop holding back. Like, it's almost like you're saying bye bitch to anything that looks good too. Like, I'm afraid to go into anything. I'm not over the revenge, or I'm not over some horrible situation that happened to me. It's like, because you felt stupid in the past doesn't mean you're going to be stupid again. You'd be stupid to not find love.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. So our last sign is Pisces. Les fish of the zodiac. Let's see what's going on with the fish. How's your aquarium? I had a very deep reading today for Pisces, actually. If you are on High Vibe, it's fucking deep. So if you want to go deeper, it was like a 10-minute deep channeling for them astrologically. Fuck. So let's see what the cards have to say. 8 of Swords reversed. I think it's so funny that the reversal is finally showing that things are golden and great instead of toxic and sick, because this is you having to pull out of a toxic situation, or things have gotten toxic. And I think that the end result, of course, especially with Mercury here, it's in a place that you want to see this beautiful story, but I think Uranus is telling you that you need to look at the facts. I think that the Sun in Libra is getting to the bottom of the truth. And I think the truth is in order to get to this place that you need to face the toxicity, or something that is just like over, you know, toxicity is just an over, like it's like some part of something has reached its limit and it's now over. It's like waste, right? Like sewage waste. It's like nuclear waste. It doesn't know where to go. And if you stay there, it's just going to keep collecting. This is a card of people who sit in their own toxic world because they feel blindfolded and they feel like they can't move. But with the reversal, it's finally leaving a toxic situation. You did pull the Justice card as your challenge, though, and I think that you're having issues with the truth of that. You keep bouncing around the truth, or you keep building a story that's against the narrative. It's like, the gloves don't fit, don't acquit. It's like, but the gloves fucking fit. Two of Wands upright. This is the world that you can have in your life. It's like, what is the world that you want to have? And I think that you need to maybe separate yourself from the toxic situation, and even the kind of story that's being told to you in your own court of how it should look, and actually look at just in yourself for 1 minute, in your own happiness, in your own heart, especially that we are seeing a lot of emotional stuff with the North Node here in the 4th house, and we are seeing Venus happening to be in your relationship house, and it's trining Uranus in your 3rd house. The stimulation that you create in your own world, in your own head, in your own mind, of your own emotional self, and your own embodiment of that. Mars retrograde, though, in the 2nd house is attaching yourself to situations that are to a world that is not really going where you want to, and thinking that you can transform it in some sort of way, but it's insecurity because it's not the world that you want. That's what's popping up with the insecurity stuff. You did pull parasite. You are dealing with a parasitic toxic energy, and it's creating parasitic toxic energy within yourself. And you might think it's from the water. You might think it's from the food. You might think it's because of your diet. You might think it's because of all these things. No, it's actually the energy that you're connected to, and they're projecting their parasitic toxic energy upon you, and that you can remove yourself from that, especially when you see the truth, or if you're not willing to see the truth for that. You did pull the, oh wow, the 9 of Wands reversed. We got this card a lot too. It's time to drop down these, you're protecting a toxic situation. Time to take those walls down. It's time to say, fuck it, let me not be at the guard post anymore and see what happens. What if you actually got rid of all of your ailments from that? You pulled the Empress with that 2 of Wands. That's amazing outcome. Get rid of the toxicity, get rid of the parasitic energy that's in the relationship or in a partner or just within yourself, too afraid to take on relationships. It could be drugs, could be, you know, doing things that aren't aligned to spirit. But man, you can go create, Pisces, the most amazing, beautiful, nurturing, heartfelt world if you actually go to who you really are and the world that you really want to have and that you deserve and that you are willing to create here and that you are appreciated and the beauty that comes from that. It's like if you're having beauty issues, which I know a lot of Pisces are with all this Chiron in the 2nd house, it's because you're in an energy that is toxic, that is not really the ultimate beauty that you are, that you know where you are within. And so you're holding a lot of weight. It's like holding weight. Literally, too. Wow, 6th house. Talk about cleaning out the fucking... When we were in Tennessee, weren't they trying to offer us a colonoscopy or colon cleaning?
Yeah.
I mean...
Yes.
This is a colon cleanse, relationship-wise. This is dealing with stress in the... I'm stressed even reading it, Pisces. It's stress because of the... You can't keep digesting this energy force that you're too blind, but you're not blind. You're blinding yourself on purpose to see this ultimate truth that you need to be addressed, that there's something parasitic and toxic about it that's affecting your health. It's affecting the world that you want to create. And the fact that you need to go create a new world shows the relationship issue is a problem. Because then you shouldn't have to do some sort of change of your world. It would be perfect as it is. That's connected to that. First house, Neptune, Pisces. Oh, wow. Talk about Pisces having to wake up to their own true self here and get out of the blinded stories that they're creating of the life that they are and who they are, and wake up to the subconscious tendencies of holding back for what you really want in your life and suppressing what you really want in your life, because that's not working too hot.
No, because the suppression is just going to enforce the lack of existence. You know, you're going to miss out on all these beautiful opportunities that are going to arise. You know, if you just lay in the muck, you know, if you allow your mind to kind of dwindle away and believe or be eaten by a parasite, so to speak, you know, you allow that into your energetic field, and we all allow it at some point, but it's recognizing it and saying, not up in here. Not today, Satan, not today. And exercising the demons.
We're going to do something real quick here.
We're doing something real quick here.
We're going to do something real quick because I think it'll help people. And I think that you're right. It's time to exercise those demons for Pisces. They got the devil card last week too. They had my face on it, ironically enough. There's 4 elements Okay, there's fire, air, earth, and water. I'm going to pull a card for each to help you. And this will help you understand if you're dealing with a partner in that sign too, just whatever the card said. So the first one we're going to do is fire. Fire is 6 of air, which is, all right, fire signs, move to the best new place that you can go. Stop staying in a place that sucks. So the fire signs are wanting to do that this week. They're wanting to move into the ultimate place. And so if you're trying to pull a fire sign back to a place that they don't want to go, they want to go, or if you're not wanting to go to a new place and you're wanting to stay in the same energy, like fire signs are going to want to go to the better place and they want you to go with them. But if you're not willing to go, then you're not going. Air signs, 7 of Pentacles. They're looking for the ultimate investment right now in their life. And they're willing to put the work in. But if they don't show up and don't want to put the work in, then they're not going to get anything. And that's the lesson, is like you need to put the work in and show up, air signs, in order to get the ultimate return. But that's where they're at. The earth signs they got the star card reversed. So they're afraid to start fresh and new. They're kind of still holding on to things right now. And the earth sign, I think it's time for you to kind of take the moment here and realize that maybe you need to kind of clear the decks here in order to see up and see and maybe you're wanting to clear some toxic energy to get it back to some sort of fresh new start, or maybe you want to try and restart the computer, right? You want to try and restart things, but like, is that really coming from the divine? And water signs they got the Page of Swords. They're all about communicating the truth right now and looking for stimulation, and that's what they want. They want communication. So with water signs, just communicate, be real, be the truth. And if you are a water sign, you got to say the truth of where you're at right now with your life to get what's understood. And that's how I would deal with all the elements.
Voila. Dealing with those demons, baby.
Hope that helps. Gave you some extra. We love you. Make sure that you check out highvibe.tv, but especially highvibetvschool.com. The end of my sale ends at the end of this week for all of my classes of astrology, all in one package at a super discounted rate. Go to highvibetvschool.com, click on Ride the Waves package to find out more. Different options available as far as payment plan goes too, and it's all done through just like the website. Like you don't have to talk to us or nothing, and then when you get logged in, and all the schools are there ready for you to watch, ready to go. And we love when you share these videos and get it out to people on a week like this, and changes in the air. Are you ready for it? Ready to confront it? Doesn't have to be that hard when we show up to that. Last words?
I think you said it there. It's like confronting what's not making us happy in this life. Now, whether that's an outside force or that's confronting ourselves, which is obviously tough to do, looking in that own mirror and kind of saying, this is where I'm fucking up, or this is where I'm not pulling enough weight in our relationship. But I think it comes down to identifying within ourselves what it is that we need to change. What is it that's making us happy in life, and go towards that. I think we need to focus on the greatness that we do have in life. We all have struggles, but there is things about life that is amazing, whether that's just the smell of the flowers in your garden or, the tree in your backyard, whatever it is, it's going to make you happy, focus on that and find that happiness and harness it within you, spend more time in nature if that's what's going to make you happy. But I think that it is truly tapping back into ourselves and kind of realigning where we might have been off course throughout this crazy messed up year.
And I'll pull a shadow card for that, Craig. And that shadow is the Bride in a Cage. Caging ourselves away from the ultimate stories. Toodles.
See ya.
Remember to be pan and fly. But you got to find that love within yourself.